It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, here we are at the midpoint of the week. That means it is Wrestling Wednesday around here. I bet I got a pretty good idea who we're going to talk about today, John.
Well, once again, we're lamenting the passing of a great wrestler.
Remembering when?
I don't know how great a wrestler he was. He was a good wrestler. He was a famous wrestler.
He wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. You know, he didn't carry the mantra of his brother or some of the others, but he was a great wrestler in his own right.
Well, hey, we're still talking about him, though.
That's right.
We remember him, so he wasn't half bad.
The great Lanny Poffo passed away last week at 68 years old, the son of Angelo Poffo and the brother of Randy Poffo, Macho Man Savage. He had a couple of gimmicks. He was Leaping Lanny, for years, and the guy could stand and do a vertical leap, which was amazing. And, of course, then he became the Genius and managed, he was the manager of Mr. Perfect. But, when he first came into the WWF in 85, he was a fan favorite, and he used to read poetry.
Yeah, I remember the poet.
And he would throw frisbees out in the audience, remember?
The poet laureate, is that what they call it?
Poet laureate, yes. And I actually have a friend at Prescott who saw him in I believe, Texarkana, and his son, who was about 9 or 10 at the time, actually caught one of his frisbees.
Yeah.
And it had I can't remember. I've seen it. I've seen a picture of it. But his son still got it on his wall in his bedroom. Of course, he's a grown man now, but he caught one of them. I believe it was in Texarkana. Caught one of his frisbees. It's got of course, it's emblazoned with the WWF logo,
sure,
naturally.
Right.
But it's got, the Leaping Lanny Poffo on it, the Genius, whatever was on it. I can't remember. But,
well, I just looked it up. A poet laureate, I'll get it out here in just a second, is a officially appointed by a government or conferring institution to compose poems for special events and occasions.
Well,
he did that just about every time he was on TV.
He did that about every time. And then, he became the Genius, and he wore the cap and gown, and became,
He was a heel then.
He was a heel, and, he had them $10 words, that he threw out there, But he was the manager of Mr. Perfect.
Yep.
And he did all the speaking for him because he had them $10 words, But the guy was a legitimate good wrestler in his own right,
Yeah, and I certainly don't want to talk ill about the deceased or anything like that, but now Lanny just never hit it as big as his brother Randy. And why do you think that is? I mean, he had the look, he had a great physique, he had a gimmick going, he played a babyface, he played a heel at various times. But whatever that it factor was, he just never did just absolutely grab people by the heart or by the throat and make them, their blood boil or, their emotions get real high. Not like, again, I always thought that might have been the problem. Oh, he's Randy Savage's brother. And the comparisons were just natural, and as great as Lanny could be at times, because he was a pretty good wrestler, pretty good in-ring technician, he was no Randy Savage.
Well, Randy Savage was 100% intense.
Yes.
And, I mean, it wasn't a gimmick.
Right.
He was intense in and out of the ring.
He lived that gimmick.
He was intense in the Waffle House or in the bathroom, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was a story about a Waffle House, I remember.
And, he was just that intense. And it takes a certain level of mental capacity or mental ineptitude maybe to be that intense all the time.
Right.
And he was that intense. And just like, the differences in me and my own brother, that was just the difference in them. Lanny was a calm figure that let his actions speak, louder than his words.
Right.
The guy was a great wrestler. He could tie you up in a minute. He could take you down, do a leg sweep, take you down, and tie you up before you knew what was happening. But he just didn't have that intensity that his brother had.
I never understood why they didn't put them together as a tag team.
It would have been something.
After Macho Man was kind of done with the heavyweight champion run, they were trying to find something they were trying to make him a commentator at the end of his WWF run and everything. To put his savagery and brute strength and all that violence with Lanny Poffo's cerebral assassin kind of thing as a tag team, as a heel tag team, I think they could have dominated.
I believe so. It was something. They would have been. They ain't no telling where they'd have went.
No question.
Another missed opportunity.
No doubt about it. And hey, rest in peace, Leaping Lanny Poffo. That's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John here for today. We do thank Sherwin-Williams House Paint, ProMed Ambulance Service, and the Shopper's Guide for helping us sponsor what we consider a wonderful little show.
Absolutely.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.